how hard I push, will determine how something will move, how fast it will move, or how far it will move. We call that force. What is force? Well, we intuitively know. We exert forces, so we know what it is. That's what it is. Okay? That's our definition from our intuition. We know what force is. We see other things doing the same thing, we call it a force also. Okay, so we know exactly what it is. So obviously, the amount of force that you exert will also determine how it moves. Okay? So we have another quantity, the amount of force exerted. Alright, what else will determine how something will move? Not shape, not size by itself. Okay, because size is determined by shape, big or small in front. Well, we can do experiments. If somebody hypothesizes, well, maybe this property ought to make a difference. So we can take two objects where the only thing different between that property. And we find, in fact, there isn't any difference. There's no, that's it. How much you push, how much force you exert, and how much mass it has. Okay, so now we have these three names, these terms: force, inertial mass, and acceleration. Now, what's wonderful here is that there's only three quantities. It's very simple. Color doesn't come in, shape doesn't come in, size doesn't come in, the name that you give, the language that you use, none of those factors come in, just this. How it's going to move is determined only by one thing, the amount of force on it, not by, I don't know, what time of day it is, where you're doing it, who you are. None of that is relevant. It's only how much force is exerted. If you push on this like this, or if an elephant's trunk pushes on it, or if some motor pushes on it, if it's the same amount of force, that's it. It doesn't matter who's exerting the force, or why. It's very simple. It could have been maybe much more complicated in another kind of universe. Maybe 20 factors will determine how it's going to move. It's just how much force. Very democratic. Doesn't matter who or why or what is exerting the force. Only one thing determines how it's going to react to that force. That's it. And this is what results. How are we going to relate these two quantities? When we exert a force on some object which has an inertial mass, and every object has an inertial mass of the amount m, as a result it will accelerate. If we don't exert a force, it's not going to accelerate. It might continue moving the way it was moving. It's not going to accelerate. It's not going to change the speed or direction. You exert a force on an object which has an inertial mass m, gives rise to an acceleration. When we exert a force on some object which has an inertial mass, and every object has an inertial mass of the amount m, as a result it will accelerate. If we don't exert a force, it's not going to accelerate. It will continue moving the way it was moving. It's not going to accelerate. It's not going to change the speed or direction. The next step is to try to find a formula that describes it.